A 67-year-old woman was eating cashews every afternoon as a healthy snack. 3 months later, her kidney function dropped by 40%. Her doctor asked one question: "How many cashews are you eating?" When she told him, he immediately knew what was wrong. She was making the most dangerous mistake on this list. But there are 7 other mistakes that millions of people over 60 are making right now. Some trigger inflammation, some interfere with your medications, and one of them could be happening in your pantry right now. I'm going to walk you through all 8, starting with the one that sent that woman to the emergency room. So, what was she doing wrong? Well, she was eating around 480 grams of cashews. That's over a pound in single sittings, multiple times per week. To her, it seemed fine because cashews are healthy, right? But here's what medical research shows. Cashews contain moderate levels of oxalates. Those are natural compounds that, when consumed in extreme excess, can crystallize in your kidneys. A published case study in the Canadian Medical Association Journal documented this exact scenario. A 63-year-old woman developed oxalate nephropathy from massive cashew consumption. Now, before you panic and throw out your cashews, understand this. The recommended serving is 1 ounce, which is about 18 cashew halves. That's roughly 30 milligrams of oxalates. Perfectly safe for most people. The problem happens when people eat handfuls throughout the day without realizing they have consumed 5 or 6 servings. For people over 60, especially those with any existing kidney concerns, keeping your intake to 1 ounce per day is the safest approach. Count them out. Put them in a small container. This simple habit protects your kidneys while still letting you enjoy all the heart-healthy fats and minerals cashews provide. But portion control is just the beginning. The second mistake involves something you probably don't even think about when buying cashews, and it could be silently raising your blood pressure every single day. Walk down the nut aisle and you'll see dozens of cashew options. Lightly salted, sea salt, roasted and salted, honey roasted. Most people grab whatever tastes good, but if you're over 60 and managing blood pressure, this choice matters more than you think. Research shows that cashews themselves can actually help lower blood pressure. They contain magnesium and healthy fats that support cardiovascular health. But here's the catch. Heavily salted cashews can contain 150 to 200 milligrams of sodium per ounce, and some flavored varieties pack even more. For someone managing hypertension, that sodium load can completely negate the blood pressure benefits of the cashews themselves. A meta-analysis published in Current Developments in Nutrition found that cashew consumption reduced both systolic and diastolic blood pressure, but those studies used unsalted or lightly salted nuts. The solution? Look for cashews with less than 85 milligrams of sodium per serving. Or better yet, choose unsalted varieties and add your own seasoning with herbs like rosemary or smoked paprika. You get the flavor without the blood pressure spike. Now, even if you're choosing the right cashews and controlling portions, the third mistake could be preventing you from absorbing the very nutrients you're eating them for. And this one's particularly important if you've ever had kidney stones. Here's what most people don't know. When you eat high oxalate foods like cashews alongside calcium-rich foods, the calcium binds to the oxalate in your digestive tract. This binding process is crucial because it prevents the oxalate from being absorbed into your bloodstream and eventually filtered through your kidneys. According to kidney stone prevention research, consuming cashews with Greek yogurt, cheese, or even fortified plant milk can reduce oxalate absorption by up to 50%. For people over 60, this matters even more because kidney function naturally declines with age. Your kidneys have less reserve capacity to handle high oxalate loads. By pairing your afternoon cashew snack with a calcium source, maybe a handful of cashews mixed into yogurt or eaten alongside a glass of milk, you're protecting your kidneys while still enjoying the nutritional benefits. But calcium pairing only helps if your cashews are still fresh. And that brings us to mistake number 4, something that's probably happening silently in your pantry right now. Okay, open your pantry. Do you have an opened bag or container of cashews sitting there? How long has it been open? If you can't remember, you might be eating rancid nuts without even knowing it. Cashews contain about 46% fat, healthy monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats that are great for your heart. But these same fats are vulnerable to oxidation, especially when exposed to air, heat, and light. Once oxidized, they become rancid. Rancid nuts don't just taste bad. Research shows that consuming oxidized fats increases oxidative stress in your body, potentially contributing to inflammation and cellular damage over time. For people over 60 whose bodies already experience higher baseline inflammation, this adds unnecessary stress. The fix is simple, but most people don't do it. Once opened, transfer cashews to an airtight container and store them in the refrigerator. They'll stay fresh for up to 6 months. In the pantry, they start degrading within 30 days. And here's an easy test. Smell them. Fresh cashews have a slightly sweet, nutty aroma. Rancid cashews smell sharp, almost paint-like. If there's any question, throw them out. But rancidity isn't the only storage concern. The fifth mistake involves something far more dangerous, and it's linked to one of the most potent carcinogens known to science. Cashews, like all nuts, are susceptible to mold contamination, particularly from Aspergillus fungi. These molds produce aflatoxins, toxic compounds classified as Group 1 carcinogens by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Research on cashew nuts from multiple countries shows that improper storage conditions, high humidity, warm temperatures, prolonged storage can lead to aflatoxin contamination. The concerning part? You often can't see, smell, or taste it. However, visible signs of mold do matter. Any discoloration, dark spots, or fuzzy growth on cashews means they should be discarded immediately. Studies show that aflatoxin contamination is more likely when nuts show visible deterioration. For people over 60, this is especially important because liver function naturally declines with age. Your liver's ability to detoxify aflatoxins drops by approximately 50% after age 60, making you more vulnerable to their effects. The protection strategy: buy cashews in sealed, dated containers from reputable brands. Once opened, store them properly. Remember what we just talked about with refrigeration, and inspect them visually before eating. If anything looks off, don't risk it. Now, those first 5 mistakes involve how you buy, store, and consume cashews. But mistake number 6 is about who should be extra cautious. And if this applies to you, ignoring it could mean ending up in the emergency room with excruciating pain. If you've ever had kidney stones, your doctor probably told you to watch oxalates. But here's what many people don't realize. Cashews, while moderate in oxalates compared to almonds or spinach, still contain about 30 milligrams per ounce. For people with a history of calcium oxalate kidney stones, that's the most common type. Even moderate oxalate foods can be problematic. Kidney stone prevention guidelines recommend keeping total daily oxalate intake below 100 milligrams for stone formers. 1 ounce of cashews uses up nearly a third of that daily allowance. Add in other oxalate-containing foods throughout the day like tea, chocolate, sweet potatoes, spinach, and you can easily exceed safe limits. The key is awareness. If you've had kidney stones, talk to your doctor about whether cashews fit into your diet. For many people, the answer is yes, but in smaller portions, paired with calcium, and consumed earlier in the day when kidney function is optimal. Which actually leads us perfectly into mistake number 7, and it has everything to do with timing. Because when you eat cashews might be just as important as how many you eat. Your body isn't the same at 8 a.m. as it is at 8 p.m. Circadian rhythms affect everything, including how your kidneys process minerals. Research shows that kidney filtration rate decreases by approximately 40% in the evening compared to morning levels. When you eat mineral-rich foods like cashews, they contain copper, phosphorus, magnesium, and zinc. Late in the day, your kidneys must work harder to process these minerals when they're operating at reduced capacity. For people over 60 who already experience age-related decline in kidney function, this evening burden can contribute to chronic kidney stress over time. A study in the Journal of Renal Nutrition found that seniors who consumed high mineral nuts in the evening had elevated kidney stress markers compared to those who ate them earlier. The solution is simple. Make cashews a morning or early afternoon snack. Consume them before 4 p.m. when your kidneys are at peak function. This small timing adjustment can significantly reduce the metabolic burden on your kidneys. Which leads us to the 8th and final mistake, one that affects anyone taking certain common medications. And this is critical because millions of people over 60 are on these exact prescriptions. Cashews are rich in magnesium, about 82 milligrams per ounce. Magnesium is wonderful for heart health, bone density, and muscle function. But if you're taking blood pressure medication, this natural blood pressure lowering effect can compound with your medication. While research shows cashews themselves have a modest blood pressure lowering effect, reducing systolic pressure by about 4 millimeters of mercury. When combined with blood pressure medication, there's a theoretical risk of hypotension. That's dangerously low blood pressure that can cause dizziness, fainting, or falls. Similarly, cashews have a low glycemic index and can help stabilize blood sugar. But for people on diabetes medication, especially insulin or sulfonylureas, adding cashews without accounting for their blood sugar impact could lead to hypoglycemia. The fix isn't to avoid cashews, it's to be strategic. Eat them at least 3 to 4 hours away from medication times. Monitor your blood pressure and blood sugar, and discuss with your doctor whether your medication dosages need adjustment when you're regularly consuming cashews. So, those are the 8 real mistakes people over 60 make with cashews. The woman with kidney problems? She recovered most of her function by limiting intake to 1 ounce per day, eaten in the afternoon with yogurt. No more handfuls whenever she felt like it. These aren't theoretical problems, they're real outcomes from real people documented in medical literature. But here's the good news. Cashews can be part of a healthy diet after 60. In fact, research shows that regular nut consumption in seniors is associated with reduced frailty, better cognitive function, and longer telomere length, all markers of healthy aging. All right, let's do a quick refresher. Be sure to make these 8 adjustments when eating cashews. Control portions, choose low-sodium varieties, pair with calcium, store properly, inspect for mold, consider your stone history, time them earlier in the day, and account for medications. Do this, and cashews become what they should be: a nutritious, delicious addition to your healthy aging plan. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.